Welcome back to the Best Practice podcast. In this episode, I'm joined by Ruben, CEO of LegalFly, to talk about what it really looks like to build a legal AI company in Belgium, why the data quality that the AI is actually trained on will matter more than ever in 2026, and why so much of LegalFly's growth has actually been inbound rather than outbound, and what that signals about where the legal market is heading. Ruben, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being a guest and for the time, and thank you for coming on. If you could just do a quick overview of yourself and your background, that'd be great.
Super amazing. So thank you very much, George, for the opportunity. I'm Ruben, one of the co-founders and the CEO at LegalFly. LegalFly is a legal AI scale-up based in Belgium, and we built an AI native workspace that is automating a lot of the legal processes relevant for in-house legal and procurement teams.
Awesome. I was looking back and you founded LegalFly in 2023,
Yeah.
and you were actually working in product at some various dating apps, Ruben. So like the likes of Tinder, Plenty of Fish. And what did you see whilst you were working in product there that made you think, hang on a minute, I really need to build a legal AI startup?
Yeah, I sometimes make the joke that we went from the sexiest industry in the world to the least, if I may say.
Mm.
And it's with that mindset that we want to make legal sexy again. And it's also during our time at Tinder and Match Group, the parent company of Tinder, we spent a lot of time with the legal teams of Match Group because the entire founding team was a unique product and engineering pod at Match Group. And our task was basically to identify a specific business opportunity, then to develop a product proposal around it, and then pitch it to various committees. And one of those committees, and the toughest committee, was the legal committee. So every single week, I was in meetings with the legal team, and it gave me a lot of insight into how a legal team is operating within a corporate organization, definitely within an enterprise. But it also made it pretty clear to me that legal is constantly under pressure to move quicker. They carry massive load for the organization, and they also need to de-risk an enterprise every single time. And if you then look at other teams within the organization, like the more commercial teams or the procurement team, they're always chasing legal and trying to get deals or projects over the line quicker. So there is a legal bottleneck at most corporates where we feel that there should be an AI native solution to assist corporate organizations to make the legal team more efficient and to reduce the reliance on costly external counsel.
Yeah, I could definitely see that with legal becoming the bottleneck rather than the enabler in the business. And I definitely think that's where AI can come in to help speed things up, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think what's also really interesting with Legal Fly is how you're based in Belgium, you're building in Belgium. It's where all the EU is based in Brussels. And now
Yeah.
how has that differed your approach to building a legal AI tech company rather than say building in London or Silicon Valley, or like we're seeing with the likes of Legora building in the Nordics? Has that made it harder? Has it made it more interesting?
It definitely made it more interesting, I would say, and probably also a little bit harder.
Mm.
Also because, especially if you look at Belgium, the fundraising or the VC landscape or the scale-up landscape is not as mature as in a lot of other countries outside of the EU. Now, if there is one thing that we're really good at in the European Union, then it's at over-regulating anything we potentially can. And the benefit of that is that we're so used to work in a heavily regulated environment where data privacy, and this is great, where data privacy is taken extremely, extremely serious. So when we founded LegalFly and when we started building the product, one of our core design principles was actually to make sure that at all times, sensitive data is shielded, is anonymized from AI models, from foundation models. And it was actually one of the first design principles that we took into account when we have built our LegalFly solution. And even today, it gives us a major advantage over other vendors, where if highly regulated industries, if enterprises operating in these highly regulated industries are looking for a legal AI vendor that treats the sensitive data in their legal documents in the most confidential way, there's only one way to do it, and it's to make sure that there's an anonymization process happening behind the scenes before AI agents are actually doing the legal work. And we're literally the only one globally that can provide this and that has this built in their platform. So yeah, it's great. And yeah, it's also thanks to the fact that we are Belgian, operating from the heart of Europe, that we took it so seriously, and it's now helping us specifically for the segment we're selling into.
Definitely. I think with that European approach, like data privacy definitely can't be an afterthought. It has to
Yeah.
be foundational, especially with the rules that tight. Now, LegalFly is built so it's also AI native. Now, what does AI native actually mean to LegalFly, and how does it differ from putting a query into LegalFly to say ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini?
Yeah. So AI native means that the entire product, the entire workspace is built with Gen AI at its core. So it's not a legacy solution where we've sprinkled some fancy AI on top and then now suddenly there is a discovery feature that allows you to chat and interact with the content.
Wow.
AI is at the core, and LegalFly is a fully agentic workspace, which basically means that you can throw any specific legal process or task at LegalFly, and LegalFly will first immediately um, run an interpretation of the request. So the intent of the user will be captured and will be understood. And then one of our agents in the workspace will actually step in and handle the workloads. Let me give you an example. For example, I'm uploading an MSA at LegalFly from a specific vendor, and I'm asking LegalFly to run a contract review on this MSA based on our company playbook. Our contract review agent will step in, will in 2 minutes do a full review of this MSA in Word. We'll do a full redraft with redlining, and then we'll push it back to us so we can actually review how the AI has not only reviewed it, but actually redrafted the entire document. And this is just one of the agents. We have agents as well for due diligence. We have agents for running compliance checks like DORA compliance in the EU. We have agents for translating documents, for comparing documents. Yeah, we go pretty broad, and that's, I think, one of the beautiful things about LegalFly is that we're truly an end-to-end solution, and we really want to make sure that we have an agent for any legal process that an in-house team is facing.
So it sounds like LegalFly can almost triage the question and then assign it to the best agent for that.
Exactly. There's like an intake system, basically, that is indeed triaging and understanding the question, and then involving one or multiple agents to execute it. Yeah.
That's really interesting. I think that's also how it definitely differs from ChatGPT, with it being not generalist, and how it can, be trained on a specific task,
Yeah.
like the playbooks like you were mentioning. And so when you go to pitch to a new client, potentially like an in-house team or something, like what's a typical question that they always have, or like a typical misconception, especially if they're trialing lots of different providers and platforms? What are their main worries?
Yeah. So before I dive into this, we're, as I mentioned, mostly selling to corporates and public sector,
Huh.
mostly to enterprises, and especially in highly regulated industries. So we're talking about banking, talking about insurance, we're talking about accounting, but even in terms of industrial partners as well that are operating in highly regulated environments. And one of the first questions that then come to mind is, okay, but how is LegalFly dealing with confidentiality? How is LegalFly dealing with data sovereignty? How is LegalFly dealing with hallucinations as well?
Mm.
So those are the main questions that are being fired upon us, mostly because most of them have experience with generalist AI solutions, but they realize that whatever data or documents they put in is being shared instantly with the foundation models. Most of those models are then hosted also in the US, which is for European clients another risk or something they feel a little bit unease with. They don't feel that comfortable with. But then secondly, those generalist solutions like Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT, they don't have the legal context. They're not trained for the legal domain. They don't have the right sources. And whenever they advise you, they're also not that transparent into which sources have led to that advice. So those are all things we take very seriously, where we have trained LegalFly to support more than 35 jurisdictions. We have partnered with amazing law firms. We've partnered with amazing legal publishers all around the globe. And we're actively training LegalFly constantly based on public portals like government agencies and so on, like on a daily basis. The beauty of this is that when you ask for legal advice, whether it's asking for first-line legal support, you're automating a contract, you're running a compliance check, LegalFly will advise you, but LegalFly will also always give you the sources. So it's very easy for you when you use LegalFly to then verify whether or not the advice that LegalFly has given you is actually correct and is based on legit precedent or on something that's not made up by the AI model itself.
And do you get any resistance from some of the senior lawyers or the senior counsel who see it as a threat rather than a tool?
Sometimes, like in the first meeting, I would say yes, but we're very product focused. Like the proof is in the pudding. So whenever a prospect is meeting anyone from LegalFly, we'll give you an introduction in terms of how our organization works, and that by itself is quite interesting because we have a very tech-heavy organization with amazing AI engineers, but then on the other end, we have a solution engineering team of legally trained people coming from amazing law firms like Slaughter May, Freshfields, and so on. So when you work with us, you actually get a team both from the AI side, but also from the legal side. But in every meeting you have with us, within 5 minutes, we'll jump into the product. And we will actually allow you to bring your own documents or challenge the product on the spot. It's never mocked. You get access to the live environment, to the live product. And the proof is in the pudding. I want you to trial out everything you can during that session. So all of the questions you've had, all of the bad experiences you've had with generalist AI solutions or with other legal AI solutions, that they're covered, and that you can see that LegalFly is built for a different purpose, for a different audience as well.
Wow. So yeah, you have to be pretty confident in the product to show
We
it
have
in
to. We have to, and sometimes it happens that there is a very complex use case. Like we've been working with the European Commission on they're one of our clients, but on very complex use cases, where in the initial demos, LegalFly was not fully built or trained for that purpose. But then again, the solution engineering team is very important, that we deploy with our clients. We spend a little bit of time together. We tailor the environment to their needs. If needed, we do additional training, and then the product is up to par, even for the most complex use cases.
And would you say that your clients help you to shape your product roadmap for the future?
They are. So we have a couple of design partners as well in our client portfolio. Usually key accounts. Talking about an SAP, for example, that's one of our clients as well, where we're going very deep on contract drafting related use cases without going into the details. We have a contract drafting agent as well, and LegalFly is capable of fully inheriting the legal style of the enterprise organization when initiating a drafting process. And then sometimes we partner with existing clients. We run a couple of sprints together. We organize bootcamps together. Both the AI and engineering teams are involved, as well as the legal teams. We learn from the collaboration. It improves the product, and then we ship an update to all of our clients.
I suppose one of the benefits of you being quite a small business at the moment is the speed you can iterate at and ship out new features. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. We're still fairly lean. We employ around 50 people full time today, spread around 3 different offices. So headquarters is in Ghent. We have an office in London, and then we very recently opened an office in Dubai to serve our clients in the Middle East as well.
And so Harvey, Legora, and Spellbook, they're all very much like main competitors and also very big names in the legal AI space. How would you say LegalFly differs from their offering, and what is it you admire about their approach?
Well, I think especially for Harvey and Legora, I think the growth they're experiencing is insane. I think it's unseen within the entire startup universe, to be honest. The valuations are also staggering. Harvey's at an 8 billion valuation, Legora at a 2 billion valuation, I think, based on rounds that both of them did 2 months ago. So it's extremely impressive, especially if you know that 3 years ago, none of those two companies were in existence. So it's amazing. But at the same time, they are quite generalist legal AI solutions, and they've really built for the masses. and they've built their solution both for law firms as well as for corporates. So
Mm.
the solutions are not that specialized or focused. They remain pretty broad. And I think to a certain extent, I agree with that vision. You should build an end-to-end solution. Let's not build legal point solutions because that brings other challenges for your clients. Then you're only solving a very limited amount of use cases. The client may need to procure multiple legal AI solutions. There is change management. There is data processing activities that's then happening with multiple vendors. So all of that you want to avoid. So you want to build a broad solution. I agree with that. But you should build a solution that is completely fixated on one specific segment, right? So we don't really believe that you can build one legal AI platform that serves both the in-house teams as well as the law firms. It's a different product. There are different legal processes behind it as well. And it's a different pain you're solving for a law firm versus for an in-house team. So that's why we've decided we're going all in on the in-house domain. And we actually want to become the category leader, especially in Europe, for enterprise in-house legal and procurement teams.
Mm. And do you think their valuations can be justified, like the 8 billion and 2 billion for Harvey and Agora, or do you think it's heavily inflated?
I don't think it's inflated, definitely not, because if you've seen like the speed at which they're capturing market share, it's impressive.
Mm.
On the other hand, like the industry is because we're not talking about the money that's going after the legal tech budgets. We're talking about money that's spent on legal services. It's that market that you should look at. And even Harvey only has a single digit percentage market share of that entire market. So I think their valuations could be way higher. The only thing I'm seeing is that they're growing incredibly quick, but not always in a very sustainable way. Churn rates are rather high for those organizations. So the question is whether that AR, the growth that they're realizing, is sustainable. That's a different thing, I think. But I think their valuations are just the beginning, to be honest.
Yeah, they had for the Harvey co-founders on Reddit, right? And they were getting grilled on there, but I think they were able to defend their valuation quite well. And like you said, yeah, like they only serve a single percentage of the entire world's legal market share, right? And there's still so much to fight over, and so
Yeah.
much potential for
The-
LegalFly.
There will be multiple winners in this space. I think that's clear. And that's why I think it's even more important that you build the ideal complete solution, but for a specific audience. That is, I think, where we believe in. And I think for a generalist solution, it's a two-horse race with Harvey and Legora. And I'm very curious to see how it will play out in the long run. I think for a lot of industries, and then again, I'm referring to the highly regulated ones for in-house, like FSI, for example, I think you need a vendor that is quite specialized in FSI if you want to really address the pains and the challenges those teams are facing. And that's where we come in. Yeah, so that's why we really feel there will be multiple winners in the space. It's a massive market, and I think those valuations will continue to rise. But it's very much a land grab motion right now. And the interesting thing as well is that in 2025, and we're nearing the end of 2025, it almost felt like we were in a candy store because like you could get a taste of Gen AI and legal AI solutions, and it's amazing. But everyone was still exploring to what extent will it make our organization more efficient? To what extent will I be able to build an amazing business case that makes this a no-brainer for us to adopt with the team, and it helps our business to grow significantly. With 2026, we already see now that all of our clients and all of the prospects we're right now in conversations with, they have those budgets defined. So at a board level, there is a massive push to implement Gen AI solutions across all of the different teams, even in the legal teams, and those budgets are being put in place right now. So that's amazing to see.
In-house legal teams definitely operate very differently from law firms. And do you think that focusing exclusively on in-house has shaped your product roadmap differently compared to if you've gone after law firms as well?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So the in-house teams are much closer to the business units itself. So they
Mm.
feel a much harder pain, in our opinion. And their workflows are often messier as well. There's so much work the in-house team is working on, and they're swamped in the work. And like
Mm.
80%, 85% of the work is what we call commodity legal work. It's like reviewing contracts, running compliance checks on contracts, redrafting contracts, providing constant advice within the organization, translating legal documents, and so on. And a lot of that commodity legal work is rather boring work. It's not the work that the legal counsel is getting excited by. And it's that work that we want to automate as much as we potentially can, so we can free up a lot of their time for strategic legal work. That's really where we come in and where we want to assist them. And yeah, it's that interests us more, to be honest, than rebuilding the billable hour model of a law firm with AI. For example, that's a challenge we're less interested in. We rather focus on solving the pains and the processes for
Mm.
commodity legal work for in-house teams.
And so do you think those in-house teams using LegalFly will be instructing external counsel like the law firms a lot less because they've got that in-house superpower?
For most of the tasks, yes. So for a lot of our clients, that's definitely the case. For certain use cases or processes, litigation and legal research, they of course still rely on the law firms, and that's never going to change. To
Mhm.
clarify that as well, but especially that commodity legal work, most of it can be perfectly automated with AI agents. Yeah.
And what do you mean by that commodity legal work? Is it like the contracts and
It's almost anything contracting related, I would
Mhm.
say. And the beauty is it sits within Word, right? So LegalFly is available within web, but we also have a Microsoft Word add-in. So you're literally opening your Word contract and LegalFly is screening it on the side.
Mm.
It's flagging all of the risks based on your own company playbooks and is then redrafting the entire contract. It's mostly that type of work that we're automating.
I suppose in the playbooks you can upload previous examples of contracts that maybe you've actually worked on with law
Yeah.
firms.
So what we've done is we built a playbook builder in collaboration with one of our other clients, Foyer Group. They're the largest insurance group in Luxembourg. And we've built a playbook builder where if you have a golden contract, how our clients are often referring to it, so they have like a certain template that they would like to use because it
Yeah.
contains all of the terms and all of the clauses that they usually use. They can just drag and drop any golden contract or any template onto our playbook builder. 30 seconds later, a LegalFly AI playbook comes out that has adopted everything that is within that document and fully inherits the legal style of how that legal team is doing a very specific contract review for that document type in that jurisdiction.
Wow. So that can save the team both time and money, I'm sure.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And should for some reason you still be uncomfortable to create those playbooks yourself, again, we have a solution engineering team. They can assist you and they can create those playbooks for you, especially the first ones, if it helps you with an easy start.
And I think I read online that you have partnerships with law firms, so you have access to their data, so you can help
Correct.
train models on their, proven data. How has that helped? And how were you able to get those partnerships in place?
Correct. So most of them came inbound, to be honest. So we get on a daily basis, basically inbound partnership requests from a lot of different parties, from law firms, from ASLPs, from legal publishers, and
Mm.
so on. In terms of the law firms, we have training partnerships, like knowledge sharing partnerships with law firms, where we're basically paying them or they get discounted or free access to LegalFly in return for documents that then can be used for training purposes. Those are very specific agreements we put in place. Just to clarify, we never train on client data. It's even guaranteed in our general terms and conditions that we never train on that data. We only do it if it comes to partnerships.
Mhm.
And then, especially in the early days, we have partnered with a couple of Magic Circle law firms, including Slaughter and May, and even our part of AI incubator programs, for example, that these firms have run in the past.
That's really interesting because I think what really sets legal tech companies apart is that the data that they have access to, right?
Yeah,
I think,
yeah, correct.
features like the Word plugins are amazing, but they can be built in if you have a fast-moving team in a couple of weeks. But those partnerships are the gold dust that really set you guys and any
Yeah,
legal tech team apart, really.
100%. Yeah.
Mm. I wanted to move on to like the funding environment of 2025. You touched on it earlier, like Harvey has an 8 billion valuation, Legora at around 2 billion. When you come to raising more money with VCs, are they comparing you to them, or do they see your proposition as going after in market fundamentally different? How do those conversations look like?
Yeah, so there's definitely a comparison taking place to a certain extent.
Mm,
Um, and then the unit economics are quite important, I think. So you have, of course, the speed of growth, which is amazing of Harvey and Legora. And to be honest, we're not matching their growth. It's insane. They're definitely leading in the space. Like I have a lot of respect for how they were able to build their businesses so quickly.
mm,
But then if we start looking into the segments we're operating in, we're definitely becoming market leader in specific segments, especially in the in-house segments, in the enterprise segment, in the public sector segment in Europe as well. And especially from a geographical perspective, both Harvey and Legora are heavily focused on the US. We are heavily focused in Europe, and up until
mhm.
recently, heavily focused on mainland Europe. So then I'm mostly talking about the Benelux region, the DACH region. Those are the two regions where we're mostly active in. We've now expanded into the UK, where we've started signing amazing clients as well. And we are looking into a US expansion later in 2026 as well. Now, when it comes down to um, doing fundraising rounds and getting compared to amazing competitors like Harvey or Legora, again, it depends on your focus. If you can be the category leader in a specific domain and the TAM, the total available market in that domain, is massive, then you have an amazing business case. And if you can outcompete a Harvey or Legora in that domain, then you can build an amazing business out of that. And then you can build a best-in-class solution for that segment. And that's exactly what we're doing, where we're clearly owning a segment. And that if we're in a competitive deal, even against an amazing competitor like Harvey or Legora, we have a very good chance at winning it because it's so specialized to serve the needs of those enterprise teams.
Yeah, and I saw on the lawyer that you're looking at potentially raising a Series B and maybe US expansion is on the cards. Why do you want to expand into the US? And what can you see do you see like much opportunity out there?
Yeah, definitely. But focus is important. So we're obsessed with Europe right now.
Mm,
That's why we're operating within the Benelux, the DACH, and the UK regions. We're quite active in the Middle East as well. It was a bit opportunistic based on inbound interest. We've also signed a couple of governments there, and then amazing enterprises started to follow. But with the US, we have a significant uptake in inbound over the last months. We have signed some of our best deals in the US market as well. But at the same time, it's going to be quite costly from a resource perspective. So we should have boots on the ground and we should do it well. Like once we enter the US market, we should go all in. So that's why we're tying it to a Series B round later in 2026, while we already have a very sustainable business going on in Europe, and while we're already becoming the market leader in the European enterprise segment. So that's for me a healthy sign. When we reach a certain level of maturity, we also reach a certain level of product maturity where we are very successfully not only selling to some of the largest banks in Europe, for example, but also expanding across those banks, across those insurance firms, across amazing enterprises. Our solution is battle tested. It's trained for all of those multiple jurisdictions. And that's what I like to see. And it's that repeatable success and increase in product usage, in adoption, in expansion across those teams. But it's also about creating a repeatable sales motion where reliance on the founding team is becoming less and less important. And that's what we want to achieve as well. And only when we feel certain about that, the B round will be initiated as well as
mm.
the US expansion. And we're very, very, very close to that point right now.
No, you definitely have to have the foundations nailed before you expand anymore. You don't want it to become messy.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, tell me more about, so you say most of your clients are inbound. Is that most of your clients overall or just for the Dubai region or certain regions?
Overall. So
Really?
there's some differences in regions, but like overall, a little over 80% of our clients are inbound. It's quite impressive. And that
Wow.
was since day one, it just continued to be that way.
And that must be just because, or more than just because you've got a good landing page on a website, right? It
Yeah,
surely
no.
comes down
But
to,
to to be
oh,
honest, I think we should focus even much more on our go-to-market machine and on our marketing efforts. I think it's mostly because the entire founding team are product engineering experts, and we're obsessed with a product first mindset. And
Mm.
only when we're 2000% sure that we have the best product in the space, then we will start scaling the go-to-market motion. That's exactly what's happening right now. We've invested like almost all of the fundraising from the past in completely perfecting the product. And every single round of feedback we got from a client, we turn it around almost instantly and continued on improving and improving and improving the product.
That's almost opposite from what I've heard from a lot of founders who their marketing is very much outbound and go to market, whereas it's quite interesting to hear that it's all coming inbound. And do you know if they're trialing other platforms or they're just coming straight to you?
It's a good question. To be honest, up until the beginning of this year, we didn't have a lot of competition in deals, I must say. In the
Mm,
UK, we did always from the beginning. It's a very competitive market. It's a very tough market to crack.
yeah.
Can be very honest about that. But in the other markets like the Benelux, even the DACH region, I think we didn't met that many competitors. Now that has changed towards the second half of this year quite significantly. I think every deal is a very competitive deal. I think there are a lot of legal AI players in the market, but the good thing is a lot of those players are quite new, like recently joined.
Mm,
They have decided to prioritize their go-to-market motion instead of their products and engineering efforts. So we're winning those deals rather easy, especially because with LegalFly, we're servicing the upper mid-market and the enterprise segment. And I think especially there, it's definitely the best product that wins, and we're able to prove it already from meeting one with the mindset and with the product that we have.
mm. And do you think looking into 2026, there'll be much consolidation with
Yeah,
these legal tech
we're
providers? Who do you think are going to be getting their credit cards out?
yeah, well, I fully aligned with that, and I think what we're seeing is that um, there'll be quite some players that will be starting to fall and tumble over. I think, like we've seen with Robin AI, for
Mm,
example. So um, yeah, I think 2026 is going to be quite an important year for legal AI, because a lot of the incumbents in the space will not make it, and a lot of them will actually merge or be acquired. That's what we've seen with Wolters Kluwer acquiring Libra, for example, or
mm,
Klausbase, like another Belgian legal tech company, just got acquired this week by LawView as well.
mm.
And it's a motion that's continuing at a rapid pace. Yeah, but for us, I see it as a positive element, because while others are struggling, we can, yeah, harvest the success that we're having and all of the inbound success, and now
Yeah.
focus on scaling our go-to market motion on a rapid pace.
And so the massive players like Harvey and Agora, they've been backed from the very beginning with the likes of Google, OpenAI, etc. And some people think that they're behind them, so they can almost learn from what they're doing and then go straight to the legal market themselves. And do you think OpenAI would ever do that? Would OpenAI ever because at their dev day, a month or so ago, they made like a docu GPT agent, and that was just a flavor of what they could produce for legal.
Yeah.
Um, do you see them going further or just being the
Well,
proprietary
I don't really
element?
think so. It's even in their TNCs, like never use ChatGPT for legal advice. We're not
Mm,
responsible, and so on. And so they also don't want to take any responsibilities, accountability. It's pushed away for legal work. Whenever you now ask for legal advice within ChatGPT, he's just bluntly telling you he's not capable of giving it to you. So I think they've probably burned themselves a couple of times on like very legally specific use cases, where also ChatGPT had some negative PR, I would say, especially of law firms using generalist AI solutions when they plead. And then apparently there are a lot of precedents that never existed, that were made up, and that sounds amazing and very relevant, but then are pure hallucinations, basically from the foundation model. So I think the legal domain is a very tough one for them to crack,
mm,
because there is zero patience or zero room for hallucinations, and data security is key. Like enterprises will never allow for sensitive data or confidential documents to be processed through a generalist solution. So I think from a B2C perspective, it could work. But from a B2B perspective, especially the higher segment in the market,
Yeah.
I think all of the corporates, enterprise in the space will look for a specialized solution with a specialized team behind it. There are a lot of law firms that are building on top of foundation models. There are a lot of law firms as well that are investing in legal AI solutions, like in Germany, for example. CMS is invested in Noxua, which is again like an amazing German competitor. It's more
Mm.
focused on legal research or litigation related use cases, not really on transactional legal work. But you can definitely see that the law firms are understanding that their billable hour model is under pressure and that they need to reinvent the future of the legal profession over time as well. So they are placing their bets as well, and they're getting involved with either partnering with legal AI vendors or funding existing legal AI vendors in the space or building their own solutions.
Mm. Have you had any clients so far that have tried to build their own in-house solutions?
Those are our best clients, usually. Those are our
Really?
best ones. Yeah. And to be honest, I think all of our key accounts have, of course, had a buy or build discussion first, and they tried to build it, which gave them a lot of experience. But at the same time, they burned millions.
Mm.
They wasted a lot of time, and they realized that, first of all, it's not their core competency. So the final result, the end product, will never be as good as it can potentially get. And then again, for legal, you want a product that's not hallucinating, something that's highly performant, something that's inheriting the legal style completely, and something that is state of the art as those models continue to increase. So it's also very costly for them to build it, and it's even costlier to maintain it. And then time to market is long. Like it's easy to build a POC. These days you can even vibe code things with Cloud Code, for example.
Mm.
It's easy to build a POC, but within the legal domain, you don't want your team to work with a POC. It needs to be a finished product without any risk. And that's why, well, we've seen a lot of clients, like even banks, deploying massive engineering teams and budgets on building something, but then realizing 6 months in that they need to partner with an AI vendor that's specialized in it.
And then looking ahead into 2030, what is the vision for LegalFly? To be acquired or to still be going strong with more clients? What does it look like?
Right. It's a good question. I think right now we're all very excited in terms of how the LegalFly journey is evolving. And if you look at 2025, we're going to close the year with a year-over-year growth of just over 600%. So it's been an amazing year for the company. Our
Congrats.
churn is very low. It's like just below 5% as well. So like it really proves that we are building a sustainable client base, which is different than a lot of the other legal AI vendors. We're just prioritizing growth, but not really caring about retaining those clients. So I think from a product market fit perspective, we're in a really good shape. Now it's about continuing to scale.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely not actively pursuing an exit right now. We rather continue on building the company and see how big we can make it. And I'm very excited with the clients like the European Commission or SAP that we're working with. And I would love to continue working with even more of those clients in a lot of extra regions.
Definitely. And what are your like predictions for 2026 for the legal AI market in general?
As I mentioned, I think we'll see a lot of consolidation happening. We'll see a lot of small players. Like it's a very fragmented market. I think that will change. We'll definitely have clear winners over the next years and
Mm.
established players. So, and I think that's great because it means that the end product that the clients will get access to is even of a higher quality, more reputable. So yeah, I think that's only good news. An intake of legal work will probably be automated by AI agents first as well. We're even building prototypes right now that as soon as a client receives an email with an attachment, that attachment is being reviewed by one of our agents first, and the client is being advised with a summary and with a red line on changes that need to be made on that attachment. So we're freeing up an insane amount of time for the clients, and there's a lot of pre-processing that we're doing right now before the legal counsel even looks at it. And the interesting thing there is that we're expanding beyond the legal teams. So legal work today is done by the legal team. I think that will start to change as well. We'll see procurement handle a much higher workload of the legal work as well. And even the commercial teams, I think, will become
More adept.
capable
Yeah.
of doing a lot of that work. And then again, only the most complex, specialized, strategic legal work will remain for those legal teams. And I think it's a good evolution for everyone within.
We've got lots of legal AI founders listening, students, lawyers. If one of them potentially have an idea for a legal AI company, as a founder, what's like a bit of advice you'd give them if they wanted to go and pursue that in 2026?
It's a very good question. I think first of all, be very product focused and have a product first mindset.
Mm.
Build to solve a problem. Don't build for the sake of building a feature. That doesn't make any sense. So identify a very specific problem or challenge, a pain you solve for a very specific audience. So define your ICP, define the audience you're building for, define the pain, and then think of an amazing solution for that pain, something that doesn't exist in the market yet, and then start operating on it. Build a prototype, build an MVP, run a pilot with some clients, like invite 15, 20, 25 law firms or corporates to run with you in that pilot, capture as much feedback as you can, iterate on that feedback, and then go to market. That's basically the playbook by how we did it. And it allows you to build and ship rather quickly in the space, while at the same time, you're not biased by what you think you should build, but you're actually advised by the audience you're building the solution for. And that is definitely the best way forward, I think, and the leanest way forward to build a qualitative legal AI solution.
Feedback's definitely key, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Ruben, thank you so much for your time and for coming onto the podcast. It sounds like you've had a very successful year at LegalFly, and I wish you all the best, especially with Series B on the horizon.
Amazing. Thank you very much.